This is the OTB Television Network, a service of Capital District Off-Track Betting.
Good morning and welcome to the Handicappers Report on this Tuesday morning. Yet another balmy day in the capital.
Oh, it's wonderful, isn't it?
Absolutely. Seth Merrill from Equidelli.com, Mike Jarbo from the Times-Union. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Seth. How are you today?
Very good. And as I said on the weekend, I think it was the first day I said it was on Sunday when Jeff Carl and I were in here. It was not, it was a cold winter with snow and frigid temperatures, but it was short. Spring has arrived, and I'm happy with that.
Yeah, it's almost here. Next thing you know, Saratoga.
That's right. Yeah, we've had some 40s and 50s, Saratoga right around the corner. And I said,
time to break out the seersucker.
That's right. Yeah, and the white shoes because we had to put them away, of course, on Labor Day. But I said the last couple of days, of course, going back a couple of weeks with the cold weather, certainly Parks has had their share of crazy weather that had the string of 10 cancellations. But the cold weather has affected a number of racetracks, but the warm weather just as bad. And I said Laurel canceled on Saturday, and part of that is it's tough to maintain the tracks with the varying temperatures. Freeze, thaw. That makes it very tough, and it affected Laurel on Saturday. Fog at Aqueduct, although CeCe Lopez in the Grenig article said the track condition was maybe a little dicey too, but they were back racing, of course, after that on Sunday, and subsequently a nice Monday card, and I think Monday's going to work out okay for Aqueduct in the wintertime.
Yeah, let's hope so. I really like the move to Mondays, and let's hope it works out for them.
Yeah, because this time of year it's such slim pickings. They are the 800-pound gorilla, obviously, and it was fun. It was a little bit different sitting there on a Monday. I kept watching Aqueduct on the television, and then in my mind I'm thinking it's Sunday because of that, so I had to readjust. But I think they're going to do okay. And yesterday we were thinking probably to the end of March. We weren't sure, and I think Jason Blue or Andy said like 12 Monday, so that'll take them into April. And I knew it was just a winter schedule kind of thing, but I thought it was a little shorter than that. But I think they're going to April sometime with that Monday schedule. You would
think they'd consider extending it too, because this way they don't have to mess with the schedule when they have a holiday.
And that's what Anthony said. This puts the holidays right in the the meat of your card. You don't have to play around at all. I'm wondering, I think over the wintertime, we'll have to see as we get into the experiment, and certainly at the end what the handle numbers are like. As I say, I think they'll do very well. But a couple other tracks over the past 5 or 10 years have tried this Monday experiment and then moved away from it. So Monday just might be a funny day for bettors. But I think the New York product is so popular, I think they're going to do well. Yeah. Yes. Also, this past week, since we last saw you, the 2013 Eclipse of finalists have been announced. I talked a little bit about it. There was nothing that jumped off the page as far as names missing or, there's a couple maybe head scratchers in the mix, but I think it's all the logical players for the most part, and I think you can go down in a lot of the categories and kind of circle right now who the winners are going to be.
Some of them are pretty easy.
Yeah, there are some that are maybe head scratchers, though. Like I will be very interested in that jockey category. I think on the numbers, it's probably going to tilt in Castellano's favor, but of the published ballots so far, and it's a limited number, but of those published ballots, Gary Stevens getting a little bit of a push, but the finalists, Castellano, Rosario, and Stevens, and as I say, that's a category that I think is going to be fun, and there are a couple like that where I think you're not necessarily going to be able to put your finger on it, but for the most part, as I say, no surprises really.
Well, there's always some voter. It's like in the Hall of Fame for baseball every year. There's some guy who should be unanimous, and somebody has to get their ballot and say no, just to be contrarian, so I'm sure we'll see some of that.
Yeah, you're exactly right. It happens every year. But again, categories like Horse of the Year, the finals, Mucho Macho Man, Will Take Charge, Wise Dan. Boy, given that those, it would really be hard to pull the trigger for Mucho Macho Man. Certainly it was a nice year, but only a couple of wins. Will Take Charge, I just think, if Game on Dude had been in the mix, I might have found this category a little more interesting. But I think Wise Dan certainly is going to attract some attention. We talked on Sunday when my partner Steve Bick was in here. Misdirection is just a a horse in no man's land. She is really a female turf sprinter. There's no category for that. So she winds up in the female turf category, and she winds up in the female sprint category. And I think voters were just kind of giving her a nod because she had really another fun year, certainly for owner Jim Rome. But again, I don't think she's a winner in either of those categories because it's kind of fun. Not that, and I'm certainly not suggesting they add any more categories. But given her specialty, she's again kind of a horse with no particular island there to land on.
Well, now that we have specialists who are turf sprinters, maybe it's time to get that category.
Yeah, and turf sprinting certainly over the last, 10 years has become much more prominent in American racing. I suppose you could make that kind of an argument, but at this point, misdirection kind of floating out there. Female turf horse that I said earlier, Laughing, unfortunately, has passed away. Misdirection gets in that category. Dank, I think, is going to be the certain winner in there, and I've said this before. I wish they had a rule that says horses have to start more than once in North America to be eligible for the Eclipse Award, because we've seen horses come over here before and Europeans raid the Breeders' Cup and have a nice performance there. And then I think folks look at the European record and fold that in. And I think the Eclipse is more of a North American award, so I'd like to see that. Given that, though, I tip my cap to Dank because those connections did come over here, win the Beverly Deed, did so pretty nicely, and then won the Breeders' Cup. So I have no arguments. I think Dank probably gets that category.
One of the things that I wind up finding myself doing is using my heart sometimes for rooting rather than the numbers. For example, for the sprint female, I really like Dance to Bristol. I just love this one. She always shows up. She always gives you everything she has, and I'm in love with the horse. So,
and it's also, those are fun stories when those connections came up from the Mid-Atlantic with Dance to Bristol and took a couple of stakes up at Saratoga, and it's fun to then go down and see him in the winner's circle. Anytime. Saratoga is certainly on the racing landscape in America a giant and an icon, and when connections come in with horses and they're out there in circuits that are nice, certainly that Maryland circuit, Mid-Atlantic, there's some great racing down there, but then connections come in, they get into the starting gate or they're in the paddock and they're looking over and there's Pletcher and there's Jerkins and those kind of, you can see in the winner's circle when they come up with the Saratoga victory, that is very, very important. And so Dance with Bristol, yeah, absolutely. I think Groupie Doll is going to capture it though off of her nice performance in the Breeders' Cup this year. And of course, we talked to Mike Welch maybe a week and a half or so ago on the Sunday morning program, and he hinted that he had talked to Buff Bradley and Groupie Doll with a start in 2014 before she heads off to the breeding shed. We talked to him again this Sunday, and it looks like they were actually looking at a few different races. They were looking at one down at Gulfstream, potentially one at Santa Anita, and I think potentially also one at Laurel. But we'll get one more start from Groupie Doll, which, given the fact that she went to auction and was sold, and her new owner, Mandy Pope, very sportingly brought her back after that. You pay a six-figure sum, and you can understand them wanting to bubble wrap a little bit and go off the racetrack. So for her to come back and try the Cigar Mile again, where she was beaten, but I thought ran very well, had to salute Mandy Pope for that. But you certainly have to salute her for coming back and giving us one more chance at a horse that I think has become a fan favorite.
Absolutely, and when you have the horses that, like you say, get bubble wrapped, it's nice to see one where the connections say, let's, the fans want to see these horses run.
Yeah.
And they wind up putting them on the shelf, and I know they own the horse and they have the investment, but still, the fans want, this game is at least partly about the fans.
Yeah, and as you say, and I'm with you, you can understand when owners take the money and run. It's a very tough game, and it is a business, and it's tough to make money. And so when the siren call of the breeding shed yells out and puts money on the table that the horse will never make on the racetrack, I can certainly understand it. But yeah, we would love to see him run, and so that's all the more reason to kind of salute these connections when they will take charges connections. It's going to be fun to see him run again this year, even though they got offered quite a bit of money, and they wound up with a good deal, going 50-50 with a breeding operation, but he'll be back. The connection to Princess of Silmar, again, wasn't a situation of this one maybe going to the sidelines in a retirement, but at the end of last year, they could have elected not to go to the Breeders' Cup. But again, for the fans, that made for a great distaff. There was all kinds of great stories in there with
Right.
Princess of Silmar being in, and Beholder and Royal Delta and whatnot. So hats off again to Ed Stanko and crew for taking that. All right, we will shift our attention now to the handicapping portion of the program. Mike's going to take a look at parks a little bit later on. I'm going to kick things off with Turf Paradise for this Tuesday afternoon.
Okay, in the first of Turf Paradise, we have $5,000 maiden claimers. State breds 4 and up going 6 furlongs.
And just going back to yesterday, I did Aqueduct on the Handicappers Report on the Monday card, and pretty good day. Had 3 winners out of 9 races, and there was a nice mix of exactas and whatnot. I didn't call any plays of the day yesterday, and given that my top 3 were up there and some decent little exactas, I probably should have pulled the trigger. But it was a day where I was just a little bit iffy, so I did not, again, call any plays, but decent day with, as I say, 3 winners on top in the 9 at Aqueduct. All right, the opener at Turf today, 5, 6, 4, and 7. The number 5 is Max the Cash. And I just think this one could be primed in the 3rd career start. Bullet Work debuted in a maiden optional 30 claimer. Didn't run very well that day. Showed a little bit of punch to start the race. But then, as I say, faded disappointingly. Came back at this maiden 5 level last time. And again, showed some nice speed, but faded. But I think if you look at that January 4th Bullet workout, it just may be indicating, as I say, this horse is primed after having put in a couple of races that may have provided a good foundation and education. Max the Cash on top for me. 2nd spot, we'll go to the number 6, Marion's Jewel. This horse fits on the numbers, certainly. Now, this is a horse that has had 31 chances, though, so you can't jump in with a whole lot of confidence. And you get even less confidence when you look at the fact that the trainer, limited start so far at this meet, but hasn't hit the board. That's chilly to me, and too chilly to pull the trigger to put this one on top. But again, I think Marion's Jewel certainly fits on the numbers with this particular bunch. Another multiple-time loser, but a horse that looks to fit, is Barn Burner, the number 4 horse. 9 starts so far, and only 1 second-place finish to brag about. Last couple of starts have been at this 5,000 level. Hasn't shown much, but adds the blinkers today, and that was just a little bit of an angle. I thought maybe it give this horse some early punch to get up there and be a little more competitive today. Obviously, a weak field. I'm going to go with the fairly lightly raced Max the Cash on top. 5, 6, 4, and 7.
Okay, in the 2nd at Turf Paradise, we have the fillies this time. Maiden claimers going for tag of 8 to 7. 4-year-olds and up going 6 furlongs.
5, 2, 7, and 3. The number 5 is Chumash, who had some trouble at the start last time, and I took a look at that. And I didn't think the trouble at the start was that significant, but after that, the horse kind of pulled to the outside, and it really seemed like down the backstretch, the horse was hard to handle. So the actual stumble at the start didn't concern me as much as the fact that after that, the horse really was, the jock was working down the backstretch. So I think there was some trouble there that is worth taking note of, maybe just not exactly what the notes say. That trouble in the first start was on the move from Southern California to Turf Paradise. Horse was claimed out of that race for $8,000, comes back for the same price today, and comes back for the leading trainer down there. So I think just some things add up. I think this horse got a little education over the track in a start where I think there was an excuse, had started in Southern California, so still maybe getting the class relief kind of a situation in here today. So Chumash on top, the number 5. 2nd spot, we'll go with Sarfield's Ride. Just getting some venue class relief. This horse comes in from Northern California. Last couple of starts on the synthetics at Golden Gate. And again, racing for the maiden 8s there, but I think there is venue class relief that could make this horse a little bit potent in against the Turf Paradise Company. And then in the 3rd spot, we'll go with the number 7, Claudia's Cahill. I'm just wondering, was that last start a light bulb moment? And I'm thinking it may have been. It was the 3rd career start. The first start was in May at Emerald Downs, came back at Turf Paradise in December and went in against tougher company. and then last time dropped to the 5 level and ran a good second. And as I say, it may have been the light bulb moment. That was second off a long layoff, finding probably the proper, in and around the proper level. And I think this horse is going to be primed to run well today. I may regret having Claudius Cahill down in the 3rd spot. This horse won't surprise me because adding the blinkers today, 3rd start off the layoff, nice progress, start 1 to start 2. This horse could certainly be very, very dangerous this afternoon. In the second, I have it 5, 2, 7, and 3.
Okay, moving on to the 3rd at Turf Paradise, we have $5,000 claimers, 4-year-olds and up, who will be going a mile.
And I have it 2, 6, 2, 6, 3, and 1. And the number 2 is Rum Ruckus. Rum Ruckus, just getting some class relief. This horse has been at Turf Paradise over the past 3 starts, 12-5, 10,000, last time 8. And the last couple of starts were okay. They were competitive. They were competitive against 10 and 8s, now drops down to the $5,000 level. So again, with the additional class relief, based on the last couple of starts where this horse was competitive against slightly better, Rum Ruckus on top for me. Second spot, we'll go out to the number 6, Just Say It. This horse moves up, but seems to be in some pretty good form right now. A couple of wins, bookending a 3rd place finish over the last 3 starts. The numbers certainly fit. You're always left in this situation, though. Sometimes horses, they just find their comfort level, and they are much more competitive there than they are when they go against a little bit tougher. And it's just a situation of the tougher competition is a little bit better, obviously, and that means tougher fractions early, more competitive late, and that is the reason you see horses as they move up maybe just not perform to what they've shown against lesser, number-wise or finishing position-wise. So I'm a little bit dicey on this, but I think Just Say It is in some pretty good form right now, and I'm guessing a little bit, but off of these last 3 races, I think Just Say It can make the move up to the 5,000 level successfully. 3rd spot, the number 3, Champsville. As opposed to Just Say It, Champsville is making a class drop, fairly significant. I think this is probably, a couple of steps down the ladder down there at Turf Paradise. Number-wise, this horse has been a little bit inconsistent over the past 3 starts, but typically shows some speed. And that speed on the class drop could prove very dangerous in here. I'm going to take a 4-horse exacta box in here. And I will say this, the past performances from Turf Paradise did not include the morning line. And so I'm not quite sure if this play is going to have enough value. I'm calling a 4-horse exacta box, but I'll say, take a close look at the probable pays, because it's potentially the 4 I have are going to wind up taking a lot of action. And if it doesn't make sense, back off. But since I don't have a morning line in here, I'm not getting really any sense of where the morning line odds maker thinks his fan base will go. So I will call a 4-horse box just in case these horses do float up value-wise. So again, we'll box up my top 4 in here. Exacta play of the day, 2, 6, 3, and 1.
Okay, moving on to the 4th race, and before that, I misstated the distance on that last one. That would be 6 furlongs, not a mile. I think they'd be mighty surprised if they had to run a mile in that one. So in the 4th, we're going to go to $3,200 claimers, 4-year-olds and up, and this time they will go a mile.
I have it 1, 3, 4, and 5. The number 1, Gone Digital, just put in a very solid wire job against similar a couple of starts back. Moved up slightly to the 4 level last time and ran an okay 3rd. But again, this horse, you go back 2 starts, really similar race, and looked very good winning that one on the front end. So we'll use Gone Digital on top. Second spot, Straight to Midnight. I think this horse is likely finding some class relief in here. Has been in starter company in the last 3, starter 7, starter 8s. Comes in for a straight 3,200 claimer today. So again, as compared to those last 3, should be finding significant relief. And if you go to that start 3 races back, the starter 8, a nice win in the move down here to Turf Paradise from California. And not only a nice win, a solid buyer that day. The 2 starts since then, not quite as impressive, but we may rebound to that. with the class relief today. Third spot, the number 4, Soapstone Prairie. This horse moves up slightly by condition. This horse was in a $3,000 B last time. Goes into a straight 3,200 today. So again, condition-wise, this horse is making a little bit of a move up, but won that last race. And so I think that signals some good form. That was a turf to dirt move. So I think the form may hold a little bit today. I think Soapstone Prairie is going to be kind of interesting as well. I'm tempted to call a play of the day in here, and I wish we had some morning line odds because I think this race might offer a little bit of value. But again, I'm not quite sure where the betting public might go in these races. So I think the value might get sucked out of this one. I'm not as confident on this one as the last one, so I won't call a play of the day. But take a close look at this race. I have the 4th, 1, 3, 4, and 5.
Okay, in the 5th at Turf Paradise, we have $16,300 allowance runners, non-winners of 3 lifetime, 4-year-olds and up, going a mile.
6, 4, 5, and 1. The number 6 is Obsession, and this one I just think could be primed in the 3rd start on the Turf Paradise track. This horse came in from Southern California, showed some speed in a little stakes race in the 1st start here. That was back at the end of December, came back on New Year's Day, and again was kind of up and in the hunt throughout the race and just pretty much stuck in the position, 4th and 3rd on the past performance line all the way around and winds up 3rd in a field of 6. And as noted, this is the 3rd start on the track, so I think this horse just could be primed to give a little bit of an improved effort today. 2nd spot, the number 4, Mysterious Soul. This is one of those where I have written at the top of my page because it's a chin scratcher. Last race was a lifetime best buyer figure. If the horse comes back to that, Mysterious Soul is clearly the one to beat. But the buyer figure was enough of a jump up that it looked like an aberration. Horse was in a little bit of a stakes race that day. So I'm wondering, can we believe that buyer figure? Or maybe was this horse just pulled to a better buyer figure by the rest of the field in a little bit of a stakes race? Sometimes, the buyer figure makers, it's kind of art and science. They're looking at what some of the other horses have done and adjusting the figure that way. So the figure last time was just high enough that I'm not quite sure I believe it completely, but I think you have to have this one in the mix because it just may have indicated this horse is in some good form right now. But we'll find out more about Mysterious Soul a little bit later today. And then the number 5, Amp and Adrenaline. For this one, dirt is the question mark. The last 3 starts, certainly nice improving numbers over those last 3, nice finishing positions, and I think Amp and Adrenaline is clearly a contender. But the question mark is going to be, what's the switch to the dirt going to be? Because if you look over the 19 career starts, 2 wins, 1 on turf, 1 on synthetic. So let's see what happens with the return to dirt. But if this horse, as I say, does run back to those turf numbers, should be in the mix. In the 5th, 6, 4, 5, and 1.
And that should bring us up to a break. We'll be back in a few minutes. Please stay with us for more of Seth Merrow from Turf Paradise.
I'm Seth Merrow. Join me weekdays at 10 for Racing Across America. We'll look at important races from around the country, get insight from top handicappers and analysts, and preview the upcoming week in racing. That's Racing Across America, weekdays at 10, right here on the OTB TV network.
Here in upstate New York, no one provides bettors with more wagering options than Capital OTB. Our network of branch and easy bet locations stretches from the mid-Hudson Valley all the way to the Canadian border and west to central New York. So whether you need to place a bet, fund your Capital Bets account, or watch the next big race, all the action is just around the corner. A full list of our branch and easy bet locations can be found online at capitalotb.com. Capital OTB, the better and most convenient choice for wagering in upstate New York.
I got it. Watch me. I got it. Hey! I got something that makes me want to shout. I got something that tells me what it's all about. I got a move that tells me what to do. If you don't, brothers and sisters, then you won't know what it's all about.
Funding your Capital OTB bet account is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Easy money. Clearly the fastest and easiest method of depositing funds into your account. Make deposits or withdrawals in just minutes. 2. Green Dot Money Pack. Gives you instant access to your funds. Green Dot Money Packs are available at thousands of retailers nationwide. And 3. MasterCard Visa. Simply click on the link from the funding page, enter your account information, and fund your account. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
Hey race fans, head down to the all-new Clubhouse Racebook. With live horse racing on more than 250 flat-screen TVs, state-of-the-art wagering terminals, and amazing Vegas-style atmosphere. The Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany.
Welcome back to Handicappers Report. I'm Mike Jarbo of the Times-Union. I'm here with Seth Merrow of Equidaily, and Seth is going over the Turf Paradise card for us. We're up to the sixth race. We have $3,000 claimers with a calendar condition, non-winners of a race since July 14th of last year.
7, 6, 4, and 3. The number 7 is Making Fire. Just seems to be in some good form right now. If you look back, we have not missed the board in the last 5 starts, going back to the end of September. Last time out was a near-miss second-place finish in a similar race. So, again, I think this horse is just in some pretty good form right now. Number 6, Position A. I think this horse is likely the one to beat on the move from Southern California, but this horse has been at Turf Paradise before and is 0 for 2 over the track, hasn't hit the board. So there may be a little bit of a negative horse for a course angle. That might be overcome, though, by the fact that this horse is getting venue class relief and some serious price class relief as well. The prior starts on this track were again significantly better. So it's not going to shock me at all if Position A just runs away and hides from this field. But I was willing to take just a little bit of a shot against. Certainly you have to have Position A in your mix, however. The number 4, Renier Missile, who I think is getting some class relief in here, has been running in some 5,000 claimers and some 7,500s, but up at Emerald Downs. And so I'm not quite sure the barometer between the two tracks, but I'm assuming there is going to be some class relief in here for the number 4. And in the 6th race, I have it 7, 6, 4, and 3.
Okay, moving on to the 7th, we have $10,000 claimers, non-winners of 3 lifetime, going for $9,400 purse. 6 furlongs is the distance.
This is a tough race, and I'll say it right out at the top. I may completely whiff on this race because all 3 of my top selections are moving up. But I think coming out of races that indicate they can make the move successfully. But again, it's a race where I could just as easily whiff because of the selections here. But I have a 3, 4, 1, and 8. The number 3 is Pork Chop. Solid win last time, and that was on a nice turf to dirt move. I think this horse is going to be tough if the form holds. But, again, this horse was racing in a N2L 6,250 race, moves up N3L 10,000. So moving up condition and price-wise. But, boy, that win and the number fired in the win are enough that I think Pork Chop can be interesting in here. But, again, this is a dicey kind of a race. Number 4, Dog, similar situation. Moves up off a very nice win. This one's kind of interesting as well, and this horse cuts back. This horse last time in that win went a mile, cuts back to 6 furlongs today, could add a little potency. So Dog, I think, is very interesting. And then in the 3rd spot, Lady Loves Outlaws, also won the latest race, but also against lesser company. So as I say, my top 3 picks all moving up, and all moving up again, kind of significantly, because it's not only the condition, but it is the price as well. The flip side is the horse I have in my 4th spot, Sylvanus, who ran 4th last time, but did so against Allowance Company. So I think this one may be getting a little bit of class relief. So that's why I say this race is a little bit of a dicey proposition for me. I'm taking a shot with some horses moving up and hoping they're in some good form now that will allow them to validate my confidence. But we'll see later this afternoon. Race 7, I have a 3, 4, 1, and 8.
And in the 8th, the Turf Paradise, we have fillies, 13-6 allowance runners, non-winners of 1, and they'll be going 6 furlongs.
9, 8, 2, and 3. The number 9 is Magic Number. Made the move from Southern California to Turf Paradise last time and threw in a clunk. I'm going to give this horse another shot. This horse had been racing Hollywood, Santa Anita. You'll go back to August, was racing at Del Mar. So certainly facing some better company. Again, that will start at the first start down here at Turf Paradise. Nothing to write home about, but maybe we'll get a little bit of a boost moving over to Scott Stevens. Now, White Shield, the 5-pound apprentice, we've had Michael Chamberlain on Racing Across America, and we talked about this apprentice last time, doing very well at the meet, but still, maybe the move to the very talented journeyman, Gary Stevens' brother, Scott Stevens, maybe the jock switch will shake this one up a little bit. So with some trepidation, I'll use magic number on top, give this one another shot on that move from Southern California. Number 8, Ruler of the Tribe, has some nice early speed, comes in here with a 3-race win streak. But this is another one of those that's moving up class-wise, so you have to wonder. But I think if the last 3 races indicate what we see today from this horse, Ruler of the Tribe will be in the hunt. And then the number 2, LCD, started the career down at Turf Paradise, and then in the second start moved over to Santa Anita, won pretty nicely at Santa Anita. So now makes the move back to Turf Paradise, but off a long layup. But this is a lightly raced 5-year-old, only a couple of starts, but has perhaps shown a little bit of potential and could be interesting on the return back to Turf Paradise. 8th race, 9, 8, 2, and 3.
And that brings us up to the nightcap at Turf Paradise. 5.5 furlong contest for fillies, $3,500. Claimers, non-winners of 2 lifetimes, $6,000 first.
We'll go to the outside, 12, 11, 4, and 3. The number 12 is Sassy Diablo. And I just think that perhaps this horse figured it out last time. Broke the maiden in the 11th career start and did so in a fashion that kind of says, you know what, the light bulb went on. Took a while, but kind of finally figured things out. Number 11, Swiss in Paris. Put in a nice try against similar company last time. Not going to be shocked to see this one run well again today. And then Sigma Bonded. A couple of starts here at Turf Paradise since moving here. And the first start wasn't much. Second start showed some improvement. So again, it's one of those, I think, maybe got to start over the track, got a little education down at Turf Paradise, improved nicely, and a repeat of that effort from last time, again, puts this one up in the hunt. 2 girls advancing. The horse I have in the 4th spot also, I think, could be a little bit dangerous on some class relief. But it's class relief, serious class relief off the claim, which raises some red flags. So 2 girls dancing, interesting, but interesting in a way that is both intriguing and you have to be a little bit cautious about. In the 9th at Turf Paradise this afternoon, 12, 11, 4, and 3.
Okay, that brings us to another break. When we come back, I'll be taking a look at the card at Parks today. Stay with us, please.
This is Steve Beck. Join me Tuesday through Saturday here on OTB TV for At the Races, my Sirius XM daily news magazine of the thoroughbred industry. Handicapping, interviews, analysis, everything you could want. 6 a.m. OTB TV.
Hey, race fans, head down to the all-new Clubhouse Racebook and get in the game. With live horse racing on more than 250 flat-screen TVs, state-of-the-art wagering terminals, fantastic food and drinks, an amazing Vegas-style atmosphere with seating for nearly 900 of your closest friends. Conveniently located at 711 Central Avenue, right off Exit 5 of I-90 in Albany, the Clubhouse Racebook is the better choice.
Each morning on the OTB TV network, you get the very best in horse racing programming. Weekdays begin with the Handicappers Report, where professional handicappers share their selections and analysis of the day's racing. Followed by Racing Across America, a daily conversation with racing personalities from around the country. Saturdays include Down the Stretch, where Mark Casano speaks with the biggest names in racing. And Sunday mornings, it's Loose on the Lead, where Steve Bick and I offer news and a unique lineup of weekly guests. All here on the OTB TV network.
Wagering at CapitalOTBBet.com is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Capital Bet TV, the fastest and easiest online wagering experience where you can monitor 5 different tracks simultaneously. 2. Capital Bet Express. Its straightforward program layout and interactive handicapping information lets you build your wager quickly and efficiently. And 3. Capital Bet Pro, designed especially for the professional horse player. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
Missed one of our TV shows? No worries. Now you can catch all your favorite programs online. Simply log on to CapitalOTB.com and click on the YouTube link at the bottom of the homepage. And look for our new podcast coming soon. CapitalOTB.com. Log on today.
Welcome back to the Handicappers Report on this Tuesday morning. Seth Merrow and Mike Jarbo. I just took a look at Turf Paradise. We will now turn our attention to Parks Racing for this afternoon. Their opener today is a maiden at the $10,000 level, a maiden claimer. These are fillies and mares 4-year-olds and up. They'll go 7 furlongs.
I'm going 1, 5, and 8 in here. My top pick is Shalane, who I'm going with this horse based on what I think was a difficult trip last out. And I think we can get a better trip out of this one this time. This one looks like it may be the lone speed in here. Last time out, ran in a 9-horse field and got parked out virtually the whole race and lost a lot of ground. Doesn't face as much speed in here. There should be some speed just to her outside, maybe from Candy's Luck, but I don't think that one is a serious contender in here. And with that speed, and the trainer has good numbers on this in this scenario. With that speed, I think the speed could carry this one to the winner's circle today. In the second spot, we're going to go with the 5, P. Ridge, who goes out for Scott Lake, who is uncharacteristically struggling at Philadelphia. He's listed at 0 for 9 here. This one gets a rider change back to a pilot who knows her, and even though it doesn't show much in the way of form at this track, also had a bit of a bad trip last time while finishing second. So we'll put that one underneath P. Ridge in the second spot. And for the third spot, we'll go to the outside with, I believe it's Kalesh's Quest, who may have had a dressed-up effort last time out, passing fading horses late. But we'll see what this one can do at this distance, and was not far behind a next out winner 2 back. So we'll go 1, 5, 8 in the first at Parks.
Race number 2 at Parks this afternoon. It is a conditional claiming event. Claiming tag 7,500. Condition non-winners of 4 lifetime. Fillies and mares 4-year-olds and up. They'll go 1 mile.
2, 1, and 4 are my selections in this race. I'm going to go with the Money Room on top. Now this one, I'm really doing some archaeology on this one. I'm going back to November, where this one closed pretty well at a distance of 6 furlongs, and gets a little more ground today. And if you note, the last 2 races were 5.5 and 7 furlongs, and I think this one will appreciate the stretch out to a mile. Also likes a wet track. Has a good record at this racetrack, and I think you're going to see a good effort from the Money Room today, maybe at a little price too. In the second spot, we're going to go to the inside with Nice Gator, who really blew away a field last out to advance to this non-winners of 4 lifetime condition. And if you look at this one's form, back form too, had a pretty good race on the 11th of November while having some trouble. And with a little better trip, and also with the weight off with the 7-pound apprentice, you could see a better response out of this one today. And for the third spot, we'll go with 4, Mythic Appeal, who, I don't know, finished way back last time, tired badly, but has shown some good efforts a couple back, and may have had trouble up front, got pressed pretty hard in a speed duel, and if gets a little bit of an easier trip today, might show up a little more. So that's 2, 1, 4 in the second at Parks.
The third race at Parks this afternoon, it is a plain vanilla claimer. The claiming tag 7,500 to 8,000. These are 4-year-olds and up. They will go 6.5.
We'll go 7, 5, 4 here. We're going to go to the outside with Barbara's Beauty for the top spot. And this horse looks like she's in an all systems go situation. To turn the tables, the trainer has good numbers first off the claim. It showed improved speed last time. Has a good record at the distance. Has won 3 at the distance. Faded last time. Got some time off, and I think with the return to the races today, after having had the time off since November, should be ready to fire. So we're going to put the 7 on top. That's Barbara's Beauty. In the second spot, we're going to Smarty Sluey in the 5, who has a great record at the track, has won 5 and out of 29 starts, but also has 7 second-place finishes, which kind of concerns me because, you know, some of these horses just like to finish second, I think. Last out ran at 7 furlongs and won, but needed every bit of the racetrack to get there. Cuts back half a panel here, and I don't know. I don't think that's going to play to this one's advantage as far as getting into the top spot. So we'll put her second. And for the third spot, we're going to go to Blue Brass Bell, who goes second off the layoff. Ran pretty well in the slop last time to finish second on the front end. Drifted out, faltered, maybe was a little short of condition in there. Got bet hard, was 8-5. And second off the layoff may show us a little more today. So we'll be 7-5-4 in the third at Parks.
The fourth at Parks this afternoon. We're down in the basement with plain vanilla 5,000 claimers. These are 4-year-olds and up. They'll go 6.5.
We're going to go 3-1-8 in here. We're going to put Concord's Peace on top, who has won the last 2 starts by 4 lengths and gets a little more ground here. And if you look at this one's record, has 5 wins at this course, and I really like horses that seem to be horses for courses and run well at particular tracks, and here's one for you. 5 wins and 2 place finishes out of 7 starts at this track. So he likes it here, so I'm going to put him on top. In the second spot, we're going to go to the inside with Bruce and Mike, who has gotten a little bit of time off after a win for $8,000 and returns for $5,000 tag. Started the pace early, wound up getting up late, and in doing so, finished clear of a next out winner in Forest Meadow. So I think this one's going to be ready to roll. Gets a little more distance, and we're going to put that Bruce and Mike in the second spot. In the third spot, we're going to go to the 8 Calvados, who sat off a fast pace last out, and I expected to see that one coming home hard, but really didn't have much. That was off an October layoff, and I think should be better today after having that start under his belt. Has a good record at the distance and a decent record at the track, so we're going to put Calvados third. 3-1-8 in the fourth at Parks.
Fifth race today at Parks, a conditional claimer. Claiming tag 7,500. The condition, non-winners of 3 lifetime. These are 4-year-olds and up, going 5.5.
5, 9, and 2 for me in here. We're going to take Perfect Wind on top, who sat just off a strong pace last out and managed to get up by a neck late. I'm seeing another hot pace here, and I think this will work to this one's advantage. Has 2 wins over the course and 2 wins at the distance. And that last win was also in the mud, and I believe they might get a muddy track today at Parks. So I think we're going to see a repeat effort from Perfect Wind today. Moving to the outside for the second pick, we have Dos Oros, who gets in light with 113 pounds. Last out ran a decent race in the mud, going 5.5 furlongs. Finished third by 2 lengths, and that was in a big field of 11, a race between horses, and I think that may have been a little bit difficult for this one. So I don't think we're going to see this one get as bad a trip in this race. In the third race, we're going to go to in the third spot, we're going to go to Zealous Sky, the number 2, who won in the drop to this price last time. It advances to the next condition in here. This one has some speed and could keep going, so we will make it 5-9-2 in the 5th at Parks.
All right, that will bring us to our last break of the hour. When we come back, Mike will continue his look at Parks Racing. Stay tuned.
I'm Steve Beck.
And I'm Seth Merrill.
Together, we're loose on the lead on Capital OTB, Sundays at 10 a.m. Why should they watch, Seth?
Sit down on Sunday, have a bagel, get some great racing conversation.
Cream cheese only, no jelly. Sundays, 10 a.m., loose on the lead, Capital OTB.
Using CapitalOTBBet.com is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Simply log on with your username and password from the homepage. 2. Fund your Capital OTB account through our Easy Money, Green Dot, or Visa MasterCard options. And 3. Place your bet on one of our 3 easy-to-navigate wagering platforms, Capital Bet TV, Capital Bet Express, or Capital Bet Pro. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
Here in upstate New York, no one provides bettors with more wagering options than Capital OTB. Our network of branch and easy bet locations stretches from the mid-Hudson Valley all the way to the Canadian border and west to central New York. So whether you need to place a bet, fund your Capital Bets account, or watch the next big race, all the action is just around the corner. A full list of our branch and easy bet locations can be found online at CapitalOTB.com. Capital OTB, the better and most convenient choice for wagering in upstate New York.
I got it. Watch me. I got it. Hey! I got something that makes me want to shout. I got something that tells me what it's all about. I got a move that tells me what to do. If you don't, brothers and sisters, then you won't know what it's all about.
I'm Mark Cassano. Join me Saturday mornings at 10 for Down the Stretch. We'll inform, analyze, and welcome in the biggest names in racing. So join me Saturday mornings at 10 for Down the Stretch, right here on the OTB Television Network.
Welcome back to the Handicappers Report. Seth Mayer and Mike Jarbo. Mike, I didn't mention at the top of your segment here, you were in here last week. Parks canceled, so you made a quick switch to Sunland Park. I emailed you at the end of the day. Sunland has got to be your track. You were plugged in. You had a nice 5-winner day last Tuesday.
I'll tell you, after last Tuesday, I was thinking of moving down there and getting an apartment with Chip Woolley and maybe having some nightlife with him.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it was a big day down at Sunland
thank you.
last Tuesday. We'll see if we can keep the roll going at Parks this afternoon. Their 6th race is a conditional claimer, 8 to 10,000 tags, non-winners to 2 lifetime, 4-year-olds up. They'll go a mile and 70.
We're going 8-4-6 in here. I'm going to the outside with an angle I really like, getting a new face in a cast of old characters who keep knocking against each other. Sometimes when you get a new face in there, you have to take a look at this horse and say, you know, these guys have been beating each other up. They see somebody they don't know, gone. So this one, I have to go back a year, actually, and do some real archaeology to see this one's last race decent race at Parks was actually a year ago. Showed pretty decent speed, and this one's 1 for 25 lifetime, but there are no world beaters in here. Comes in from Laurel, 3rd off layoff, and I think that just facing the same old guys, I think this one has a real good shot at taking all the money in here. For the 2nd spot, we're going to go to Dean the Man, the 4, who had a decent try, first off maiden win, and wound up being 9 lengths behind one of those blowout winners. And sometimes you just don't know what to do when a horse finishes second way behind a horse that just blows the rest of the field away. But that was also in the mud. The race was decent. It keeps the same rider, 7 pounds off. Also has the fewest lifetime starts, which in a race like this can be a real advantage. So for 2nd, we're going to go to Dean the Man, the 4. In the 3rd spot, we have the 6, Goose Bay, who is a whopping 1 for 43, but last out made up some distance late in a 10-horse field. And making up distance in a 10-horse field tells me that this horse can do a little bit of running, even though I can't see this horse winning, but maybe we can get a suck-up 3rd out of it. So we'll go 8-4-6 in the 6th at Parks.
The 7th at Parks this afternoon is a conditional claiming event, $14,000 to $16,000 tags, non-winners 2 lifetime. These are 4-year-olds and up. They'll go a mile.
I'm going 1-3-2 in here. The 1, Hotcha Do It, gets a class drop today and has run pretty well at this track. And last race had a slow start and had to make up too much ground, and sort of finished far back. But if you look too back, the horse had a decent effort when being steadied mid-stretch, which which pretty much took him out of the race. So if this one runs back to that race and doesn't have any traffic trouble, you can see this one possibly get to the wire in this, I guess you would call it an undistinguished crew of runners. So we'll take Hot to Do It, the one on top. In the second spot, we'll go to the 3, Take the Offer, who last time tried to make up ground into a very, very, very slow, glacially slow second half, and actually finished up pretty well in that one, and was really running against the tide when it comes to the pace of the race. So maybe with a better race shape today, can get part of the money here. So we'll take the Offer in the second spot. The third spot, we're going to go to the inside with It's Charlie again, and this is against my better judgment, sort of. This one goes turf to dirt. Last time out, ran in a handicap race, didn't do a whole lot, and then has been off since June and shows up here for the fire sale price of $16,000. I don't know. When you see a horse like this, you're really afraid to pull the trigger, but at the same time, this one has a really good wet track Tomlinson, and maybe, just maybe, on memory alone, this one can get the third spot. So in the 7th at Parks, 1, 3, and 2.
The 8th race this afternoon is an optional claiming event. 40 tags, non-winners at 3 lifetime. The condition, fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and up. They will go 3/4 of a mile.
5, 6, and 1 for me in here. And I'm taking the 5 doubled on top because this one seems to be possibly the informed closer in a race that has a lot of speed in it. Closed well last out when she had a new rider, and has fared better at this distance than when she's run at longer distances. It's 2 for 4 at the distance, and shows one thing that really caught my eye was the bullet work on December 28th, best of 123. Now, that was a 48 breeze, so I don't think they were burning up the track that day. But still, you know, even if the track was slow, it's managed to beat all those horses as far as the workout time is concerned. So I'm going to take a shot with a 5 doubled on top. In the second spot, we're going to go to the outside with Guard the Empire. Now, Guard the Empire advances in a condition here. And last out ran on a good track at Laurel and scored a nice three-length win. And while drifting in, likes a wet track, also shows good works. Trainer has really good numbers with layoffs of 31 to 60 days. So we're going to take this high percentage outfit to finish second with Guard the Empire. And for the third spot, we're going to go inside to Valette, who last out moved into a pretty slow pace. It looks like the inside speed here has won half of her starts at this track, and finished first in a race in which the third place finisher came up with a nice win next out. And that was versus Better Than These. Has been off since April of last year, but you know, the works are okay. I think she can put in a good performance here. 5, 6, and 1 in the 8th at Parks.
Finale today at Parks, and race number 9, conditional claimer, 7,500 tags, non-winners of 2 lifetime. The condition, fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and up, they will go 7 furlongs.
1, 11, 8 in here. A Blonde and Blonde on top, who last out faces first. It goes first time versus winners here, but the last start in which she broke her maiden was a pretty good one with a 2-length score. And if running back to that race versus this crew, I think could be enough because there's not much stock in here. So we're gonna take this one to do that rare repeat of breaking the maiden and coming back and beating winners next out. In the second spot, we'll go to the outside to D-Rage Girl, who made a late move into a pedestrian pace in a very slow race last time. This one at least is lightly raced compared to the rest of them, has only 6 starts, one win, 6 starts at Parks, has won 1 of those. And with that late move into the slow pace, might get good position here and make some noise late. And in the 3rd spot, we're going to go to the 8, who ran in a 12-horse field. This is Alluring Lady, ran in a big field last out. But the one thing I'm worried about this one might be compromised by the pace in this race. So we're going to go 1:11.8 in the finale at Parks.
And that'll wind things up for the Handicappers Report for this morning. We took a look at both Parks and Turf Paradise. There are a couple of tracks you'll be able to watch on the network this afternoon. It is a Tuesday. That means things are kind of light, but we do kick things off on the sulky side, Monticello. Then we move over to Parks, Beulah, Turf Paradise, Sunland, Western Fair, Dover Downs, Northfield, and Yonkers. Got a lot on the sulky side this afternoon, but a little something to keep the thoroughbred folks happy as well. So hopefully we'll all get a chance to cash some tickets. Don't forget, if you didn't get a chance to write down our selections, head on over to capitalotv.com. Right-hand side of the page, you can click on the Handicappers Report link, and there you will find a nice printable page each and every day with the Handicappers Report selections. Also, stop on over to capitalotbbet.com for the state-of-the-art platform. Still fairly new. We're probably 3 months into it now. And hopefully people have gotten on board and have figured all the bells and whistles. Although I say that, I'm still finding bells and whistles that I'm kind of enjoying as I go on. There are a lot of great features on the new wagering platform. And don't forget, bet 50, get 50. If you're not already a Capital Bets wagering account holder, that continues this month. If you become a new account holder, first 50 you bet in, Capital OTB puts another 50 into your account, free money there, and that also allows you to use that very great capitalotbbet.com wagering platform. All right, that'll wrap things up for the Handicappers Report for this Tuesday morning. Seth Merrill, Mike Jarbo, happy you took the time to join us. Cash some tickets this afternoon. We'll see you again tomorrow.
You're watching OTB TV, a service of Capital Off Track Betting.